In this AlignMix video, you will learn about the different ways you can export your data to Excel. Now, the first way, and the most popular way, is to export to Excel everything in your file. To do that, you click on File, Export, and then click on Export to Excel. Here you have the option to choose what you're trying to export. So if you just want to export zip codes, you would select that and click on Next. But in this case, let's select everything. And now we have additional options. We have three types of Excels that we can create. One of them is a standard export, which just gives you the bare minimum regarding your zip to territory file. Then you've got everything, which will export everything possible relating to your zip to territory data. And then there's the custom field. So if we select custom and then click on next, you'll see that we can pick and choose by dragging and dropping from left to right which categories to include in our custom export. Now you can select that for all of your options here, for all 6 of them, or leave some as custom or as standard. It all depends on what you're trying to export. So when we click on next, I'll click on next again and then finish, and all of that data will now be exported, and I'll drop it onto my desktop and click on save. When the export is completed, it will appear on your desktop, on your monitor. So here we have our zip codes. This was the custom one that I created. And then the accounts and all the other ones is the standard export. So it's just minimum information that we did not customize. We also didn't include everything because that would be a vast amount of data. So you would get your exports all in Excel just by using that export function. So let's close out of this view. Another way to export your data is if you've created a territory table, you can export the entire table to Excel by clicking on the Export Table function. Then we click on Save, and then we click on Save again to place it wherever we're saving this file. Once again, when the export is complete, it'll appear on your screen. And now you'll notice this is very similar to what we just saw in the territory table in AlignMix. It's exported that entire table directly here into Microsoft Excel. So let's close out of this view and go back to our territory map. If I use the lasso tool, so I'm going to use lasso zip codes, I can lasso out an area here on the screen, and when I let go, we'll get a pop-up showing exactly what we've lassoed. Here on the bottom left, I've got a share button, and I can share that as a custom export for the lassoed area. So clicking on custom export, I can now choose what I'm exporting. I'm going to do zip codes and accounts. And you notice the fields here are similar to what we saw in the export to Excel. So we'll just go standard for zip codes and accounts and click on next, finish, and now we choose where to save it just like before and click on save. When the export is finished, it'll pop up on your screen. Now this export here is only showing data for the lassoed area that I just lassoed on the map and then clicked on the export function. So this isn't including all 42,000 zip codes. It's only including the data for the lassoed selection from that screen. And we only lassoed about 891 zip codes there. So that's another way you can export your data out of AlignMix and into Excel. There's one final way we can export our data, and we would do that by using the lasso territory button. And we're going to select one territory and lasso it. And now we see a similar pop-up that we saw earlier with the same type of share button. Now when I click on the share button, we can do export territories. So export all the territories that we've selected. In this case, it was 1. We can export all the accounts or export zip codes. I can also just do a custom export where we are able to select all 3 options. Just like before, we can choose whether it's standard, everything, or custom. Click next and finish, and now we can save that file once again to our computer and click on save. And just like before in our other exports, as soon as it's finished, it will pop up on your screen. So this data here is only for one single territory, the Kansas territory. It gives us a list of all the zip codes that were in that territory, a list of all the accounts found there, and also the territories. In this case, it was just 1. And there you go. You've just learned about all the ways that you can export your data out of AlignMix and into Microsoft Excel.